Let's just talk about what inspired you to start collecting.
When I was a kid, at the age of 8, I became an actor. This was a long, long time ago. And I landed a regular part on a show called Leave It to Beaver, and I was on that for 3.5 seasons. Jerry Mathers and I, who played Beav, we were big horror movie fans, and we kept saying to our makeup guy, please take us to the makeup lab. We're little kids. Okay, boys. Finally, he gave in. He took us to the Universal makeup department. And, in those days, we watched Shock Theater and read Forey Ackerman's magazine, Famous Monsters of Filmland. And we went up there and we were excited, but we couldn't believe the stuff they were throwing in the trash. Like they threw the land suit for the creature from the Black Lagoon in the trash. Now at auction today, that's about $1.2 million. So if you fished it out of the trash, you'd be a millionaire. But they actually threw it in the trash. Well, I saw a head in the trash from a movie called Abbott and Costello Meet Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, made in 1953. Karloff played Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Wow. So I knew what it was. So I said to the guys there, hey, can I take it? I was like 10 years old. Yeah, sure. So I took that, and that's what started this whole thing. I still have that piece. It's under glass now because it's so old, but I still have that, and that's what started it. I was always fascinated by science fiction, fantasy, and horror. My favorite day was always Halloween. I was always dressing up. I was always doing the monster stuff. And then later, my whole career became about comedy, because I produced and directed sitcoms.
Yeah, that's an interesting shift. I was going to ask you about that. I look at your IMDb. I go, yeah, there's a lot of sitcoms. People will recognize them. Why not do your horror film?
It just was one of those things where the sitcom thing was lucrative. I was working for great people, Tom Miller and Bob Boyette. I was working for ABC. I became a very prolific sitcom, producer and director, and I was just always in comedy. But there's something similar about making people laugh and making people scream. And sometimes when people scream, then they laugh. So there's something similar about it. But I just spent my entire career in comedy, and my hobby was this stuff, which is the polarity of all the comedy stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those strange things. You wouldn't think the guy who does all the comedies collects all this stuff, but that's what happened.
Yeah, and you mentioned, you grew up reading Famous Monsters of Filmland, and I was thinking, you're like now, when the Acker Mansion, when Forey passed away, all that stuff just dissipated. So you see yourself as almost, this is the heir?
Well, the funny thing is, Forey was a very close friend of mine, so I bought a lot of his stuff.
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't want to see it all go away. So actually, a lot of his stuff was stuff that ended up in the collection. But Forey was the forerunner of all of us. He was the guy, he was so sweet. He allowed everybody to come into his house and take pictures and see things. And he was into preservation. He was into making sure that kids and fans could see this stuff. And in a way, this is extremely similar. That's what I'm trying to do. If we start a science fiction, fantasy, and horror hall of fame, finally all the fans, all the genre fans, will have a place where that's like their place to go. It's world headquarters for them.
Yeah, can we talk about that? Right now, this is at the corner of Hollywood and Highland. Smaller, it sounds like you've got like warehouses full.
I do.
More things, although this is almost overwhelming for a fan. But you are going to have a permanent home.
We're going to have a permanent home, which will be next to the Chinese Theater right on Hollywood Boulevard.
So, terrific.
And we want everyone to come and see it. We want people to support it, but it's here for the fans. The fans deserve to have, and the films, by the way, deserve to have a place that pays tribute to them and pays attention to them and thanks them. And I'm talking about the old families and the actors, the makeup effects guys, the directors, the writers, the grips, the cameramen, everybody.
Of all the pieces that you have, if it's on display here, which is your favorite?
My favorite piece in this whole show is the Margaret Hamilton Witch from The Wizard of Oz. Mike Hill, a really, really great English artist, made that for me. And it's perfect. It literally looks like a still from the movie. And Margaret Hamilton in real life was very sweet, very small, very kind, just the opposite of that character. But I love that piece because it looks so much like her. Just one of those things that I just think it's the best thing ever. I love it. And then, I love the dinosaurs and,
You got everything.
I got everything. I love the alien suit from the first movie. That was hard to get. That took 5 years to put together. It came from 4 sources, including one source in Hong Kong. And, being a collector, I'm in a network of collectors. We all know one another. We all deal with the auction houses. We're all bidding against each other from time to time. But, you get into the circle. I'm approached maybe 3 times a week with people saying, you want to buy this, you want to buy this, you want to buy this. Just yesterday, somebody was asking me if I want to buy some stuff. So, and now some people are saying, if you're going to build this Hall of Fame, please, can I put some of my pieces in? And that's fantastic.
I was going to ask you.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we'll give it a great home. We'll give all that stuff a great home, and the people will get credit for it. You know what? The people that collect this stuff, I want everyone to think it's their collection. This collection is not about me. It's about the stuff. It's about the preservation of it. So if there's other collectors and other people that want to come and see it or donate stuff or whatever, then all of this becomes theirs. This should all be in one place where everyone can come and see it, and the collectors are like a common community. And that's what I really want to happen.
Like young Indiana Jones, you're saying this should be in a museum.
That's exactly right. Well, my warehouse looks like the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. Listen, I have a lot of fun doing this, and I have a lot of fun showing it. So I just hope everybody gets into it. You can see I'm like a kid. I get very excited about it.
You got the best toy box
I got the best toy box in the world. That's right.
Well, thank you for taking this time tonight and for showing us around.
I love it, and I'm so glad
It's
you guys
amazing
came
and
down
thrilling.
here. Thanks so much for coming.
Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button to make sure you don't miss out on any Fanboy Planet videos. And remember, use your powers for good.